fans that were going to comic conventions and looking for anime on VHS tapes that were labeled with masking tape. We've seen a huge evolution here in the industry itself. And from your own standpoint, from Wings of Pony Maz to Ninja Scroll to Robotech and everything else, what is your perspective on the industry's evolution, and what's your experience been like? How did you get involved into it, into that first pull when you realized you were playing a cartoon character?
Well, the way I got started, I'm an actor. I started out as an actor. Did you have beans for breakfast? What is that? Is that the mic? Is that a microphone? I'm sorry, I was looking at you, but I thought you were doing a balloon thing over here or something. Huh? All right. Can you hear me all right? Can you turn up a hair? Okay, we're now talking on a corded mic. See how much better that is? The way I got into this whole crazy business was my wife and I were both actors, and we went to Los Angeles to become film actors, which I do and still do, and we both did. And she was in a film many moons ago, and the guy who did that film had another film that he did, but he didn't like the voices of the actors in the movie, so he had auditions for people to replace their voices. So he called my wife, because she'd just done a movie with him, and she said, well, can I bring my boyfriend, which was me at the time? And he said, sure, bring your boyfriend. So I went to the audition, and the guy said to me, have you done this before? I said, oh, I've done it millions of times, and never did it before in my life. And so I got the part, I got the lead in this thing, and I replaced the guy's voice in the whole, and I took to it like a duck to water, and I think the reason I took to it because I'm also a drummer. And it was rhythmic, and there's a rhythm too, especially the dubbing. There's a rhythm you get into with the lip sync and trying to match the flaps. And so I got that part, and then after that I did a bunch of other things, and they liked me so much they kept having me come back and do other stuff. And from that, I got cast in Robotech. And then I did Robotech. Now Robotech, at the time, this was in the 80s, you gotta remember. I know some of you weren't even born yet. It's kind of scary. I've got socks older than some of you. Anyway, we were doing the recordings, and it was kind of like the B show. You know what I mean? Because the A shows were being recorded during the day in the studio. The B show, we were the B shows because we were this Japanese animation stuff. So we were recording late at night, sometimes 2, 3 in the morning. And there was 3 studios. Now, when they did Robotech, they had a ridiculous deadline that they had to meet. And Carl had taken 3 TV series, or 3 cartoon series, and cut them together and tried to make one series out of it. So, I don't know how many drugs you have to be on to make that work. But anyway, he made it work. And what we had to do was, we would go there late at night, and there was 3 studios, and you go in one studio, you record your part in one studio, and then you run across the hall, do your part in that studio, and you run downstairs, do your part in that one. And they would be constantly editing and cutting this stuff together. And people would be sleeping on the stairs in the hall, waiting for their time to go and record. It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts. And we got it done. I can't believe it. We got it done. And then it just blew up. People loved it. To this day, people come up to me and say, I can't tell you how much Robotech has changed my life. I used to run home from school and watch it, and now I'm in the military because of this cartoon show, and I'm going, wow, because we had no idea when we did it. It was just a job, we just went in and recorded it, and we didn't think much of it, and it's still popular to this very day. So that's how I got into all this craziness. Speaking of Ninja Scroll, you mentioned Ninja Scroll. Now this is a show I did about, 20 years ago or something? So this is a show I did about 20 years ago, and of course I was only 5 at the time. But I'd never seen the show, and I went to some convention, and I mentioned I'd never seen the show, and they got me a copy of it. So I'm on the plane going back to LA. I said, well, I'll pop this in. I've never seen this thing, so I'm watching it. Anybody seen Ninja Scroll? Show of hands? Okay, a few of you have seen it. So I'm watching, and there's a scene where the giant strips the girl's clothes off and starts licking her like a lollipop. So he's licking her like a lollipop, and I'm on the plane, and like 20 people are looking at me like I'm the biggest pervert in the world, and I'm going, uh-oh. As I close my laptop, I said, I better watch this later. It turned out that was the only weird scene in it, but that was a little embarrassing, I gotta tell you. But it turned out to be a cool movie, and I remembered it. You know, when they called me for the Robotech convention about 10 years after we'd done it, I said to them, was I in the show? They said, yeah, you played Ben Dixon, Ben Dixon, Lunk, and Grell. I said, can you send me some copies of the show? Because I'd forgotten, you know. So they sent me some shows, and I watched it. Oh, yeah, okay, now I remember. And the same thing happened when I came in to read for Vince Grant for the new movie. I read for them, and the director who was doing the audition said, that was much better than you did it when you did it before. I said, I did it before? She said, yeah, you did it before. I said, when? She said, you did it in the Sentinels. I said, oh, okay. I had no idea. I didn't even know what the hell she was talking about. But so I had done it before, and I'm glad I got to do it again, because the movie is awesome, and I was glad to be part of that. And I also co-directed the film as well. So that was fun. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
This is 3 parts. Can you briefly go through your creative process and answer the question if you get lost in these worlds, and if so, how do you come out of it?
I heard process and lost in the worlds. if my process of acting when I'm doing a part. Oh, creatively, what's my process?
Do you ever get lost in that process? And if so,
I'm lost right now. I don't know where the hell I am.
And if so, how do you find your way back?
I follow the light. That's a very good question. You know, the thing is, I've been doing this so long, it's kind of second nature to me now. Like breathing out and breathing in. It seemed like a song, I had to go there. And you know, basically the best thing for me is a lot of times people go, how do you create a voice, or how do you become this? And you know, at this point of my career, I just basically go in and look at a picture. And once I see that picture, it just, whatever the right voice is supposed to come out, comes out. And that's just through years and years of working and doing this stuff. And you know, sometimes you have to try things and play around with it until you get the voice down. Usually when we start a series or something and you're playing a main character, you go in and we'll play around with first few lines until we lock in the character. And you know, thankfully they record this stuff, so we have it. So when we come back 3 weeks later to do the next episode, they can play it for us and go, oh yeah, that's what he sounded like. So you can remember what your guy sounded like, so you can jump right back into it. But you know, I don't get lost. Obviously, I know the difference between, you know, acting and reality. Otherwise, I'd be a schizophrenic. But you know, you do get involved. You get involved with stuff, especially if something is sad or touches you. But that's good, because then you use it. Anything that really touches you, and it's like I'm doing this play reading right now in New York on the 26th. As soon as I leave here, I go there and I do this play reading. And there's some very touching things in there, and I can barely get through it without wanting to cry, you know, because it's just the way it's written, and it's just. But the good thing is, as an actor, you just go with it. You know, you allow that to happen, because that's part of your work and your performance, and you allow that to come out in your work. So the same thing in voice work. If something touches you and moves you, just allow it to happen. You know. Unless the character's trying to be stoic or strong, and then there's an underlying thing that's going on, you know. There's always something going on. It's not just the reading of the lines. There's stuff that happened before. There's stuff that happens after. There's, you could say, hi, come on in and have a chair. But if your girlfriend just got killed in a car accident, you're going to say it a little differently. You know what I mean? Or if you just won the lottery, you're going to say it a little differently. So there's things that happen that will flavor your performance, or flavor the reading, the way you say a line, things that happen. I don't know, does that answer your question? Good, thank you. That was a good question.